Now, this month marks the official end of NATO's combat mission in Afghanistan after 13 years of intense fighting. Some of the real-life stories resulting from the campaign have been compelling to the extent that the subject matter has attracted Hollywood's elite. None other than Martin Scorsese is executive producing a film called Tomorrow. And joining us in the studio today is Sebastian Street, who not only stars in the film, but also co-wrote it. Sebastian, welcome to Forces TV. First of all, just tell me a little bit about the film.
The film is the story of a veteran who gets injured in Afghanistan by an IED, and he ends up being a paraplegic, and he comes back to England, London, and has to reintegrate back into society and try and live a civilian life. But he's battling with a lot of problems, that of loneliness. He has no friends or family when he comes back. He's obviously injured, and he's still suffering with the mental scars of what he's been through.
I mean, those are stories that we cover quite a lot on this channel, and you have a personal link to some veterans that you know. Indeed.
When I was writing the story with my co-writer Stuart Brennan, I had two close friends who had been through similar scenarios. One was the sole survivor of a military helicopter crash, and he carried with him, I think, a lot of guilt about the fact that he was the only survivor. And he shunned his girlfriend and his friends and family, thinking, how can they possibly want to be with me now? And then I had another friend who saw his best friend in Afghanistan get blown up in front of him. And not only these two, I went to Tedworth House and spent a lot of time with other veterans, talking to them, and the stories are all, you know, the stories are very similar. There's a lot of guilt being carried by these guys, a lot of loneliness, and they feel that they can't communicate, or they don't know who to or how to communicate what they're feeling.
And did you reach any conclusions about the way society treats them?
Well, I hope that our film will sell the idea that by just having a better understanding of what these guys have gone through, and the fact that a lot of them are suffering in silence, people can just be more open to being communicative about it, and that will mean that the soldiers themselves don't feel so restricted in what they can talk about and communicate, and whether they can ask for help. They don't have to be as proud as they are. And they don't have to keep it to themselves. There are support groups out there, but that's not always what people need. They need friends and family. Let's
talk about the big names you've got associated with this film. Martin Scorsese, and also Stephen Fry is in the cast. How did those gentlemen get involved?
Well, Martin Scorsese, first off, we met, Stuart and I, the co-writer, we met a woman called Martha Pinson, who was Martin Scorsese's script supervisor for many years and still is. And before that, she worked for Sidney Lumet, and before that, Oliver Stone, then Sidney Lumet before that. This woman knows everything about film, and she ended up directing our film, and an amazing director she is. But we met her at a film festival here, asked her to read our first draft of the script, which she did, rang us from New York after she'd gone back and said, I love it, can I show it to Marty? And the rest kind of went from there. Very exciting. Stephen Fry, I wrote him a letter because I knew that the themes in the script would be something that might appeal to him, and he wrote back to me instantly and said, I'd love to be involved. What would you like me to do? Really got behind it straight away. It's fantastic.
And what part does he play?
He plays a health advisor in one of the hospitals. I don't want to give too much away because there's a bit of a subplot, not necessarily directly related to the military thing.
Sure. Well, I guess the key question is, when can we see it?
It comes out in Cannes, hopefully, in May, and then it should be in cinemas shortly after.
Great. Sebastian Street, best of luck with that. Thank you very much for joining us.
Simon. Cheers.